I'll be honest, I haven't been a huge fan of the Orlando Magic organization over the years. I feel like as an organization, especially in the past, they have a tendency to just get stuck in the middle and are just okay with being in the middle. They underdeveloped talent, and in my eyes, it was just a middle of a pack team that wouldn't really amount to much. Now, over the years, I felt they did a really good job in building a new era for this team. They have some damn good jerseys now and have two building blocks in Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero for the future. Now, with the Desmond Bane trade, it caused a lot of controversy. I have no problems with an organization saying, hey, we don't care about the picks. We believe we are there. We are good enough to compete deep in the East for years to come, and seeing the Pacers get to the finals motivates us even more to push in the East. I respect that aspect from the organization's standpoint. We've seen it with the Pacers trade for Pascal Siakam, and even the Rudy Gobert trade, and hell, even the Mikal Bridges trade. Teams are okay with giving up a ton of draft capital if they believe their team is going to be threats in their conferences for years to come. And if you are the Orlando Magic, you have earned that right to say, hey, we believe we are one of the best teams in the East. We see the Pacers just get into the finals, the Wolves get in back-to-back conference finals, the Knicks get into the conference finals. These are teams who sacrifice that draft capital and are competing and will continue to compete for years to come. And there's more motivation in this to get off that disgusting KCP contract, which you were going to have to give up picks for compensation for that contract regardless. Now, the future can get muddy in the case of you truly don't know what happens in the future. You do have those two stars in Paolo and Franz who are good enough to get you to the playoffs, at most a 4 or 5 seed. You already have a top tier defensive squad where they are just an annoying team to face because that defense is so stifling. You are definitely going to compete in the East for years to come. So really, you're just packing on mid first round draft picks from 15 going onwards if you keep those picks. Plus, they have a bunch of young talent right now that still needs to be developed, in Jet Howard being someone we need to see more of, Tristan Da Silva, and obviously Anthony Black. The only way that the picks really hurt you is if Bane, Paolo, Franz gets hurt. And I think if that happens, your season is probably not going to end well. That's why I said the future does get muddy with trading a ton of draft picks, because you just don't know what may happen in the future. But nonetheless, Desmond Bane is a tremendous piece to fit alongside Franz and Paolo, much more reliable shooter and creator, and he's still young. Plus, he improves a really crappy offense that the Magic have. It is an eyesore of an offense. Jeez. Like, the defenses just don't respect any of their shooters. Defense is constantly clogging the paint because no one on that team is really a respectable shooter. Like, the offense, it's bad. It is bad. I've had tough times watching the Orlando Magic on offense. Love their defense, but it's tough to watch them try to put together some sort of coherent offensive team. They even tried to dip into Wendell Carter Jr. being a floor spacer, but that man cannot hit a 3 to save his life last year. And to put in perspective, the Magic haven't had a respectable offense since Dwight Howard was suiting up for them. Y'all know how long that was? Dwight Howard on the Magic. That's the last time they had a respectable offense. I'll let y'all think about that. The offense has to get better. You take the flyer on Bane, and for a team like the Magic, you have to probably be aggressive in the trade market to get key pieces. And heck, the only thing I worry about is the younger guys I mentioned developing. You definitely need a bit more shooting from that bench. And you move on from Cole Anthony, who was basically doing nothing on that team, which out of Black and Suggs as the leading point guard, he was going to be the man out. And this move just doubles down on your two franchise pieces being their guys. They need more vets and shooting depth from the bench. I think at this point we are all just waiting on the Anthony Black leap. But if that fizzles out, maybe you could trade him too. But Desmond Bane, he fits perfectly with any team in the league, and in Memphis they allowed him to do a bit of everything on the offensive side. He came into the league with the shooting being a main selling point, but now he's pretty much a do-it-all type of guy, and he doesn't need the ball much to be truly effective. So there's a lot of ways you can play him within that Paolo, Franz, Suggs core. Paolo and Franz are going to be the main ball handlers for this team. Heck, even Suggs before his injury was developing very nicely into a lead point guard. Just hoping he can come back with that same amount of production or better, but ideally the Magic needs a third guy who can be a high-level off-ball player. You can operate Desmond Bane off screens or off spot-ups for threes. He shot 42% on catch and shoot threes. He's going to be reliable in feeding off the energy the two stars gets and knock down open threes. And for the Magic, perfect. You need that. Then Desmond can dip into some on-ball stuff. He has progressed into being a reliable 37% off the dribble three-point shooter to where he's going for a size-up hezzy into a pull-up three in your face and knocking these down at a good rate or playing with step backs to get into that three-point shot. This is such an important skill because there's been so many defenses that looked at every Orlando Magic ball handler and was just like, yeah, we just gonna go under your screens. Please take that pull-up jumper, or the defense will just sag off their shooters. Bane has grown to be a respectable off-the-dribble three-point shooter to where you really can't sag off of him like that. And he's another guy who can diversify a bit more of the Magic's transition attacks. He benefits off hit-ahead passes early in the offense to where he can generate threes above the break or on the wings, or he can just drive it in himself and attack the rim. The shooting helps in his closeout attacks, keeping defenders on their heels, and he is amazing playing with that pump fake. That's a key move in his game. Got that pump fake and drive in his game. The transition drives, the cuts to the rim, and attacking closeouts are his main areas where he gets to the rim. He shoots a really efficient 68% at the rim too. Bane doesn't finish against length well, nor does he initiate or absorb contact much when attacking the rim, which limits his free throw attempts to just 3 a game. And for a near 20 points per game score with a 23% usage, you'd want those free throw attempts to rise. His finishing is more so attacking openings in a straight line of a defender who is out of position already or is off balance already. A lot of extended hand finishes or scoop lays in his game. He doesn't consistently break down defenders like that, but he's capable of doing it from time to time. He doesn't have tremendous burst or an elite handle to consistently break down defenders to get inside. His left hand can be shaky at times, and the overall space creation in his game isn't consistent to where he is generating a ton of easy open looks for himself one-on-one, which makes his growing development in the pick and roll even more important, utilizing ball screens with that ball in his hands to help his game. He is comfortable snaking screens, jailing defenders, using his strength to shield defenders, noticing drop coverage and fall into a mid-range jumper or floaters to attack defenses. He shot 45% in the mid-range on 34% frequency, which is a really solid, efficient mark for him. He can work in pick and roll, solid in his pacing and vision, another playmaker you can use in that core, and the whole shooting aspect of his game is going to get more eyes, but the playmaking aspect of his game is valuable and can be tapped in even more as another initiator that makes plays in that backcourt and can bring the ball up and set up the offense. That part of his game has developed nicely over his career, and that goes into the Grizzlies really developing different guys and giving that trust to different guys other than just their stars. That was the whole Taylor Jenkins philosophy, so Bane really benefited from that. And the playmaking is a flat-out luxury for Bane, for this team. You look at a Mikal Bridges on the Knicks, who isn't really a great playmaker, but he's your third option, and then you compare that to Bane and he's your third guy and he's a really strong playmaker. That core of Paolo, Franz, and Bane, they're very strong playmakers, so that's a major plus for this team. And also kind of offsets the need for another point guard, or this idea for another point guard I've seen people throw around. With Bane's comfortability in the pick and roll, he is good at finding cutters, kicking the ball out, making advanced reads at times, really solid playmaker. He can be at times late on making passes, and the accuracy of his passes can be mixed, but overall as that third guy, he is still capable of getting the ball and making good decisions. And Desmond overall is a really good offensive player, especially as a third option, borderline second option. And you still keep that defensive identity with him. He's a pretty solid defender, very strong player who is good positionally on and off ball, good at playing the passing lanes off ball. He doesn't have the quickest foot speed, but gives a ton of fight on ball. His defensive principles is mostly just defending physically on ball, trying to force the ball handler towards a shot blocker to clean up the play, or just force them towards help. He is not a major plus, but he still gives solid defensive production while improving your offense. Obviously, there's the wingspan problem, so his length doesn't really make players think twice about shooting right over him, but again, there's that fight to defend. Overall, tremendous shooter, off-ball player with on-ball capabilities as a third option who can also defend. Again, you take the flyer on Bane, forget the picks, double down that you are a legit contender. And the Magic, again, they earned that right to say, we are here now and we are contenders. That'll wrap up this video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more NBA breakdowns like these. And with all that being said, I'll see you all in the next video.